Hi, everybody. This is Mike Balzano, publisher of R&R and the Experience Events. Welcome to episode 7 of Trade Talks, Unlocking the Experience. Our special guest today is a teacher, a speaker, a manager. He's a proud United States veteran. He's an entrepreneur, an IAQ expert. He's a microbial warrior. He is a cigar aficionado. He's an Oregonian. He's a multiple time exhibitor at our shows, The Experience, and most importantly, he's a founder and CEO of RamAir International. Please welcome Mr. David Hart. David, welcome.
What an intro, man.
I remembered all that and I forgot your name, but the biggest thing. Like, come on, man! I've known you forever. Anyway,
Right.
Welcome to the show, David.
Thank you for having me here. It was great.
Oh, we've had a lot of people on. We haven't had Les Cunningham on yet, who's from, I believe, Washington, and sort of the Coys, but they always make fun of me because I've never been to neither beautiful Washington or beautiful Oregon. I wish I did. You're a resident of Bend, Oregon, correct?
Right, which I think is the best part of Oregon. Oregon's been all over the news these last few years, and I'm actually sixth generation Oregon, okay? My 5 great grandmothers came across, had the baby in a covered wagon, you know.
Really?
So yeah, definitely from Oregon, but like I say, I live in Bend, not Portland. Big difference.
It is, but Bend. It seems like Bend is a fun city as well, though.
It's a resort town. It's cool. It's rock climbing, golf. We got like 18 golf courses here in a population of 100,000 people. We have lakes. We have skiing. It's a cool place to be. It's for the outdoor enthusiast.
Yeah, no, it's a real miss on my part. I don't want to make these episodes about me, but it's really a miss on our. We got to get out there. We have so many friends like out there. There's no reason not to. So anyway, we'll move on from that. I can't wait to see you there. First of all, though, now you went into the service. How long did you start after high school?
I went from high school. I worked some just, dead end jobs for a few years and then decided, what, I want to do more with myself. I didn't get really great grades in school, so I wasn't going to go to college. And so I joined the military. I'm like, okay, let's go that route.
Well, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. I think this day and age, I think joining the military or going to the trades, another thing that people our age, when I was in high school, I remember people really, not that they look down upon going to the military, but I mean, as far as the trades go, it's just, well, you don't want to do that. And now we realize that really was a pretty decent option all those years that we were told by the media and whatnot. And I'm part of the media, so I got to watch how I say that. But you know what I mean? It's anyway. But after that, what was your road to get into our industry once you left the service?
Okay. Well, after I got out, I moved back to my hometown, Portland, okay, which, by the way, like I've kind of alluded to earlier, it was 30 years ago. It was a much different city back then. It was a really nice place to be. And so I moved back there, moved in with a buddy of mine, and I needed to get a job right away. And I went through the help wanted ads in what we had at the time called a newspaper, if you remember those. Right?
Yeah.
And right there was carpet cleaning assistant, $5 an hour. How could I turn that down? Right. So I jumped on that, got hired, and I just absolutely loved it. And the thing is, we carpet cleaners are a strange breed. I think we're the only ones that really understand each other, because a lot of people go carpet cleaning. How can you get jacked and excited about that? But we do. Okay. And we can geek out on it as much as anybody can geek out on anything. Go on any social media forum like truck mount forums or masterminds on Facebook. I mean, we're talking about really great guys in the industry that are just making a full-on science out of it. Well, if you use this pH and this chemical at this level, it's pretty cool stuff.
No, it really is. I ask everybody about how they got into either cleaning or restoration or the industry. This is the 7th one we've done. Every single person says, well, you know what I did? I have cool stuff, but I really just want to help people in their darkest moment. And I said, that's kind of beautiful. It's a nice way to get involved in the industry. I'm sure you're no different, and you've been doing this for a long time.
When it transitioned to the restoration aspect of it, yes, that played a big role.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you did. Now it's at one point you launched Guarantee Air Duct in 1998. Is that correct?
I launched Guarantee Carpet and Upholstery Cleaning in 1998. I moved out to Bend from Portland. Okay.
Got it.
And Portland still hadn't gotten weird yet, but I got tired of the crowds and the rain and the clouds and crowds.
Mm.
And Bend is a whole different ballgame. I mean, I don't want to go too much on geography here, but I mean, we get 10 inches of rain a year compared to 90. All right. And there was 30,000 people here at the time in 1998. So I moved out here and started a carpet cleaning company, Guarantee Carpet and Upholstery Cleaning.
Got it. Okay. And I got it completely. And you stayed there for a long time though. And first of all, that's an incredible difference in weather, by the way.
Oh, yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Yeah, well, the Cascade Range divides it. We actually have the same amount of rain and the same number of days of sunshine as Phoenix, Arizona, believe it or not. It's just not as hot, you know.
Which some would say is good. A good friend of mine moved to Phoenix recently. We were sitting in the 115-degree heat days. What's it dry? 115.
There's nothing wrong with being not as hot as Phoenix. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, but you did that now you stayed there for a long time. And I don't want to just go through your resume, but it's just a fascinating way because have such an entrepreneurial nature. How did you you shift from Guarantee over to your current company, RamAir International?
Well, I never let go of Guarantee. You know, I've been here for 25 years now.
Ah,
Still own and run Guarantee. What at the time was Guarantee Carpet Cleaning that ended up offering duct cleaning. And do you mind if I go into that for just a minute?
not at all.
Okay. Because back when I used to work for the carpet cleaning companies in Portland, which I worked for 3 different ones over the extended number of years until I moved out here and started my own carpet cleaning company, 2 of the 3 offered duct cleaning also. Okay. And one of them was just basically sticking vacuum hoses in a hole and calling it duct cleaning. It was furthest thing from duct cleaning. It was a disgrace to the industry. Another one did a pretty good job. And so when I started my company out here, I wanted to diversify. Shortly after starting it, I remembered how duct cleaning, and this is what, 25 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Duct was nowhere near what it is today. Today, it is a huge flourishing industry. There is so much demand for it. I mean, we have, just in my little town, we have a dozen builders. We have tons of real estate agents. Every restoration company in my area, ServiceMaster, ServPro, and the 8 privately owned ones, they all use us for all their disaster restoration jobs. Back then, it was not quite as known, but yet it still had an allure because of the revenue generation capability and the relative ease by which it is done. We're turning dirty tubes into clean tubes rather than all this chemistry on carpets and getting the biggest thing in a house wet and all the problems that can go with that. So I wanted to add duct cleaning. I went and I bought one of the leading negative air duct cleaning machines. And I had been familiar with that method. I put it to use. And you know, when you start and run your own company compared to working for another, there is a mental shift that goes on.
Yeah.
You go from, see how much I can, make today, to, at least I hope this is your mentality as a business owner. What can I do to serve the customer better? And how can I provide the best service in doing that? And so now I'm looking at this negative air duct cleaning equipment. I'm like, oh man, I'm not going to represent my company like this. And there was a list of things I didn't like about it. When you're pulling from that direction, there's dampers that are on multi-zone systems. And most of the bigger chunks of debris, the construction garbage, the dead rodents and stuff, typically the branches, you're pulling it up against there and you're clogging up the duct. You don't really remove it. And anything that can't become airborne, you're not removing. You have to cut into the duct system in order to clean it with the negative air. And so I just said, I don't want to do it this way. So I actually designed a system. I sat down, I wrote out, okay, what don't I like about this method of cleaning? And what would I like to see? Okay, and I got pretty grandiose with it, all right? Kind of almost some seemingly impossible goals, all right? But I created this system, I put it to use in my own company, and I'm like, holy crap, this works. And it had a visual aspect that allowed the customer to see the stuff as it's coming out, which didn't exist prior in the industry, and customers loved it, okay? So I took that duct cleaning system of mine to Portland to our distributor. Now, it's an Aramco affiliate, but back in the time, Aramco wasn't around yet. It was Interlink. Remember Interlink Supply?
Yes.
Okay, which was a subsidiary of Bridgepoint. Okay, and so there's this web, right? I went to my distributor. His name's John Carter. He was just like a mentor to me. Great guy, brilliant, former Green Beret. Okay, and I said, John, I tell you what, I came up with this way of cleaning ducts. What do you think? He looked at it. He actually spent some time, and he sat back in his chair and he said, You know, he goes, I've been in this industry for 30 years, and this is the best method I've ever seen. He goes, you can't keep this to yourself. You got to do something with it.
Mhm.
So he put me in contact with Bridgepoint, Salt Lake City. Next thing you know, I'm on a plane out there. I meet with Gordon Hanks, one of the founders of Bridgepoint, and they loved it. We actually cleaned the ducts in his brother, the president, Rob Hanks' home, and they're like, this is cool. This works. We want to carry this product. So next thing you know, here I am, Bend, Oregon, right, running this carpet cleaning and duct cleaning thing out of my home. And now I'm an international manufacturer because as soon as they started advertising it, well, now every major city in the United States and 5 foreign countries, today we're in 22 foreign countries, wanted this system. So
Mhm.
I got thrown into the world of manufacturing, and it was a really interesting ride. Let me tell you, I've learned so much by way of making so many mistakes, okay,
Yeah.
and listening to a few of the right people. But no, I still have guarantee air duct cleaning. We've dropped carpet cleaning since then to focus solely on air ducts. And so we have both companies now. We run them out of the same building here.
I see. And it's a great story. There was a problem, you tried to solve it, and you put something out to the market. How many of us have those 20 times in our life they have a great idea and we just are afraid to do it?
You
You
know,
know, I love hearing what you just did. No, what do we have to lose? Let's go for it.
I mean, everybody has had a holy crap idea, right? But I think what we do is we have a tendency to say, you know what, if this was really a great idea, somebody else would have thought of it by now.
Right.
Okay. But somebody's got to be the first, right? Who am I to come up with this idea? But we got to have more confidence in ourselves than that. In fact, Steve Jobs even said, you know, everything that's out there has been created by people no smarter than you. You can make things that people can use. And once you put a dent in the universe, was how he used to always put it. Once you've created something that impacts something, your life will never be the same again. And I buy that. I believe that.
Well, I'm glad you did because you've been a great credit to our industry and you've been doing all sorts of great things for a long time. Now, I didn't realize on my research yesterday that I shouldn't be surprised with your IAQ background and ductwork background and stuff. And I used to work with SNPs for a long time, so that was something I actually kind of was attracted to because I knew a little about that. But that you're a part of the Microbial Warrior group as well.
Right. Microbial Warrior is a fantastic academy for forensic restoration led by Sensei Jeff Jones,
Mr. Jones.
for whom we're so fortunate to have. I mean, when you have a combination of the level of intelligence, the level of critical scientific thinking, coupled with the humanity and compassion of the man, that as a gift, and we have that. So I was very honored when he brought me on board as a scientific advisor and instructor for the Microbial Warrior Academy to represent the HVAC portion.
Right. I think that you're correct. And we owe it all to Jeff, but I mean, it's almost like the coaching tree in football. You know, you look at the coaches, the great coach and yourself. And I mean, Mr. DeWalt's involved in that, and Barry Costa. And I look at that, there's some real heavyweights that came through from Jeff, which is wonderful. So this is a testament to the whole program. Now you had some, you shared with me offline, some great, you wrote the guidelines for the forensic restoration of HVAC and keynoted at IICRC in Australia. I mean, could you go through a few of those examples for me of things you've done through the Warrior program?
Absolutely.
Yes.
In fact, when Jeff brought it to my attention that he's going to add high risk, high level decontamination specialist training to the certified forensic operator course, forensic restoration operator, I'm like, fentanyl, because he was focusing on fentanyl. I
Yeah.
go, fentanyl is a drug. I didn't know a whole lot about it. I knew it was really dangerous. And I'm going, well, why would we really need to remediate for that much? And then not too long after that, boom, daycares, Airbnbs, people, toddlers, okay, healing over dead from this stuff. And I think we're just at the beginning, you know, because since then I've really submersed myself into education on fentanyl. And what a way to do a bioterrorism attack. Imagine blasting a bunch of fentanyl through the HVAC system of a building. You know, you'd have yourself a pretty serious problem. A lot of casualties. So he's always one step ahead of the game, Jeff Jones. So yeah, it was a huge honor to be brought on the program, and we dug into and really hammered out some processes, not some processes, the processes for cleaning and decontamination of HVAC in the forensic sector.
Yeah,
And,
he
and
was
we've brought those guidelines up. Oh yeah, we've actually done one high risk, high level decontamination training that integrated HVAC, and our second one is coming up in Florida in March. And it's going to be a part of the training course. HVAC is something that's been so ignored for so long in restoration, and a lot of the mentality has been like in meth decontamination, for example, just rip it out and throw it away. And that's maybe okay with meth, but if you're doing that with fentanyl, you got some fentanyl in that HVAC system, you rip it out and you throw it away, great. Well, you've just now passed that deadly contaminant onto everybody who's going to handle that on down the line from there. So even if you are going to rip it out and replace it, you still need to clean and decontaminate it fully before you tear it out.
as we all
And
learned.
if done right, why tear it out?
Right, exactly. If you do it properly, and as we learned from Jeff and yourself and other leaders, that was the problem with COVID. One of the many problems. Response was it wasn't all these things. It was what's going on through the air, and that's where IAQ became so more important, and making sure the ducts were sealed properly and all the. Anyway, I know I'm speaking to the choir on that one. I know you know that, so that's really great stuff.
The COVID thing, we learned by doing things. So many things were done wrong around the world and in the country. Yeah. If you want to learn by mistakes, COVID is a perfect example.
Recently, you contacted us and all the other media outlets in our industry about you're partnering with a couple other companies to put together a big white paper on flex duct and some differences that's coming up. Would you like to share a little bit with everybody about what that was about?
Absolutely. In fact, the whole idea for the white paper wasn't even my idea in the first place. I was having a conversation, I was having a meeting with a company called Superstratum. Great company, by the way. And their chief science officer just happened to mention, and by the way, he is a very, very, very knowledgeable chemist. Prior to being with Superstratum, he was a chemist for a company that makes the adhesives that hold flex duct in a tube form.
Right.
And he says, by the way, David, I just want to let you know, one of the things I really like about your system is that it uses positive pressure, because flex duct was never meant to be put under negative pressure, at least at the level at which they do. And I go, hold on just a minute, what? And Seth, the CEO of Superstratum, he goes, I thought that might get your attention, David. And so that actually ended up becoming a later conversation between John and I. And after looking into it, it was amazing to me how destructive it is. And then I actually reached out to a lot of negative air duct cleaners. I have great relationships with a lot of negative air duct cleaners. And they started coming out with, yeah, I've seen this happen. Yeah, I've done that, you know. And I never intended to land to put a nail in the coffin of NADCA, National Air Duct Cleaner Association, and the negative air method. That's my intent. It's not my goal. I'm not trying to take anybody down. But what this paper does is here it is in a nutshell. Okay. And the thing is, it's not, there's no opinion to it.
Right.
It's all fact. If it's not fact, data-based science, I don't even want to have anything to do with it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But we look at the tolerances laid out by the flex duct manufacturers. Okay, the negative pressure tolerances and the positive pressure tolerances. And the negative tolerances for flex duct range between 1/2 inch to 1 inch static negative pressure. Okay. The tolerance for positive pressure is around 10 inches positive pressure. So it can handle a lot more positive pressure than it can negative pressure. Hence the term forced air duct system. It's made for positive pressure. Now, we also looked at, and I reached out to manufacturers of the major negative air duct cleaning systems that are out there. And they are ranging from between, for portable negative air equipment, 5 to 6 inches of negative static pressure to over 20 inches of negative static pressure for the big trucks with the big bags on top you've seen.
Right.
So the smallest you can get with these negative air machines is 5. All right. And then you get 20 and above. So that's 5 to 20 times the tolerance allowed by flex duct manufacturers. So, and here's how it was explained to me by John. Adhesives have 2 different ratings for their strength, their adhesive strength. There's what's called pull strength, which is when you go two adhesives things together and you pull straight apart. And then there's, I can't remember if he said shore strength. I'm going to say that for purposes of this, but anybody is welcome to correct me on that term. But
Right.
where if you were to slide the adhesives surfaces across from each other, and if you're going to have strength in one, you're going to sacrifice strength in the other. Okay, so the adhesives used for flex duct have a strong shore strength. In other words, when you have a flex duct that's put under positive pressure, it puts pressure this way
Right.
on the adhesive. But if you put negative pressure, it it tests the pull strength. So they have very, very little adhesive capability when it comes to negative pressure. So that's what that paper is all about. It's just revealing these tolerances, these stated claims.
Yeah, NAD kind of things like that. Science evolves. We know something today. Maybe in 5 years we might know something else. That's what this is a perfect example of that. We're finding out some interesting and very important
Well,
stuff.
science
Good.
and things change too.
Okay.
I mean, years and years ago, almost all ducting was metal ducting. Now it's almost all flex ducting. So
Right.
we can't necessarily use the same method that we cleaned that to do this now. So, things change and systems for maintaining things need to evolve as the equipment evolves as well. So
This is all great stuff. This is all stuff topics that we go over in depth, as we all know, at our two trade shows, the experience in the spring and the fall. The next event, as we know, is going to be in Chattanooga, Tennessee, at the Chattanooga Convention Center on April 3rd through the 5th. Early bird rates end on January 31st. Only 2 weeks to go from the time this airs to get the save a few bucks to come to our great event. Also, don't forget, on April 2nd, we're doing tours of the Shaw flooring plant for people who are interested in that, as well as a couple of workshops with our friends, the Coys and Howard Partridge. But the show is the 3rd to the 5th. Now, you, sir, have been to a bunch of experiences, and you've been there for what led you to come to this event in the first place? Do you remember?
oh, absolutely. Yeah, the experience used to be called the Connections
Yep.
show way back because I've been in the industry, since the Stone Age. And it's always been a cool thing to go to, even if you don't want to buy something, just to interact with other like-minded people and see the cool new stuff that's out there. If you want to geek out on the industry at all, it is the thing to do. And I started going religiously once RamAir was born,
Mhm.
15 years ago. And we've always usually had a booth there, sometimes not. Sometimes I've presented and spoken at it,
Mhm.
all different levels, but it's just the coolest, you know. I bring my guys with me now and they look forward to it. I mean, they start talking about it like 2 months before we even go. It's like they're looking forward to this like it's Disneyland or something. Disneyland for adults, you know.
It was well, hammered into
Got
my
live
head.
music.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
for sure. I mean, it was hammered into my head when we took over the event last year. Our company bought it. It's just hands on. This is the hands on event. I guess I didn't realize it until I went to a couple. I'm like, yeah, I haven't seen anything like this. So that's great. Um, so you've been doing this for 15 years, you say. Any favorite memories, funny or serious or whatever you could think of from your time at the experiences?
Gosh. Well, I quit drinking 13 years ago. So I remember the last 13 experiences really well. And I remember most of the previous two. But it's just a lot of fun. I mean, like you said, hands-on. Oh, that looks cool. You don't just have to look at it. You can go over and get your hands on it and actually use it,
Right.
and you get the cutting edge stuff. There's speakers from all over the country and sometimes all over the world talking about the coolest stuff in the industry, and you can pick and choose to which ones you want to go and listen. Um, like I say, there's live music, and I tell you what, there's not been any second-rate stuff in that department. Some of the music show is always really, really cool. Uh, the whole thing, the whole
What
thing
do
is
you,
just it's a classy, cool deal.
and you kind of just touched on this, but I mean, maybe a little. Why should people who've never been to these events come, in your mind?
I think you should for a few different reasons. First of all, because it lets you see what the new stuff is that's out there. It also lets you, it's an avenue for which you can generate relationships with some of the most impacting people in the industry. Uh, you can learn, you don't leave without having picked up on something valuable, whether it be a piece of equipment or some knowledge,
Mhm.
or typically both. You're going to walk away with something of extreme value, not to mention just a really good fun experience as well.
About that. We're going to stop on that because I can't top that. That was a great statement. Thank you so much. I hope people listen to you because we want to have you join us at our event. Please make plans to attend the experience on April 3rd through the 5th in lovely Chattanooga, Tennessee. You can register through our website, randrmagonline.com. Again, early registration ends on January 31st. You have 2 weeks from today to get the save a few dollars. You can find this and all R&R videos and podcasts on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Please follow us if you haven't already, and feel free to leave a quick review. We'd love to hear from you. Also, please follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. A very special thank you to our guest today, the one and only Mr. David Hart. This is Trade Talks, Unlocking the Experience. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Thanks.